A good idea is like a seed planted on a fertile ground and nurtured. It will grow to become a full-blown tree that bears fruits and gives shelter to many. The concept, design, development and packaging of a program titled Young Inventors started in 2009 after the successful hosting of children and young adults who had presented their winning projects in a fair-like environment. The show has since become an annual event, encouraging promising talents, innate intelligence, creative and innovative ideas in the presentation of projects with science and technology research backgrounds. It is the harnessing of these winning projects submitted at the annual Expo event that are filmed with interviews of the authors or creators and those of experts and packaged into an half-hour magazine program series that transmits on the Nta, Africa's largest TV network.
Nigeria is predominantly agrarian, with 70% of its teeming population residing in the rural areas with myriad of challenges, including those of poverty, power supply, environmental and climate change, as well as low standards of living.
Every year, over 300 children and young adults from the 36 states of the country are hosted in a week-long series of events in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. The high point of the Expo show is the presentation of innovative and creative projects specifically conceived with science and technology researches to solve societal problems. These projects are deliberately conceived based on specific themes that change annually to address a number of problems, including agricultural improvements, provision of alternative renewable energy and power, adaptation to environmental and climate change problems, and more. These are evident in the projects we have selected from over 800 projects that have been presented in the last 6 years. Take a look.
The fuel planting machine is a machine that uses battery instead of fuel. It's soundless and it's environmental friendly. It does not produce carbon monoxide which endangers life. It was made to reduce stress in manual labor. Construction of the fuel planting machine was made in order to meet the following requirements. 1. It allows sowing of the seed in appropriate depth. 2. Seed sown at a depth cannot be picked by bird. Then seed sown proper in roots results in uniform growth, and it reduces overcrowding. Thereby it provides sufficient nutrients, water and sunlight to all plants. It can be used to plant maize, guinea corn, pumpkin, corns, beans, depending on the side of the seed selector used. And this is the planter. We have the planter. This is the seed. It's a cereal seed, guinea corn. This is a seed hopper where the selection of seed by the seed selector is regulated for planting. Then in here you can see a seed selector inside. It selects the total number of seeds required for planting. Then when it selects the farrow opener, which is here, it will open the soil. The seed will discharge from the discharge tube, and if it will drops on the soil, the farrow closer closes the soil as the machine moves. And we'll have the tires for movement. We'll have the generator tire and we'll have the wheelbarrow tire.
For areas where the soil is flat and the terrain is actually very flat, the technology would be most effective. But where you have technology that areas that are slopy, or you have ridges in a particular farmland, you might not be able to effectively use this machine because of movement around the farm area. So it's best applied where the soil surface is flat, the topography of the area is actually uniform rather than slopey, or you have ridges here and there. I would say for Western farmers, it might actually be very good for them, especially for those of us in the Southwest. But as you move eastward, there might be a bit of challenge due to the type of soil that they have there. The soil is red, when it rains it gets very muddy, and might not be just good enough for such equipment to be able to work.
This is the cob pressing member. It gives allowance if you put a bigger maize inside. It gives it allowance to thresh very well. These are the spikes which separates the maize from its cob, and this is the handle which we use to rotate.
The main mechanism of a maize thresher is it works on principle of friction. That is, there must be a contact between the mechanism and the maize, the cob. Now, during the process, there is a shearing action that the thresher gives to the cob. Now, you have something like a drum on which you have spikes, massive spikes on the drum. So the drum rotates from energy that is given from maybe an electric motor or maybe a generator. So when the drum is rotating, there is a rubbing action between the maize cob and the spikes on the drum. So it is the spike on the drum that shears without wearing the grains. It's going just to detach the grains mechanically from the cob.
Anyone looking at this project will think it's just an ordinary chair, but allow me to prove you wrong. This piece you're looking at is called Tetra because it can perform 4 different functions. First of all, it can be used as a very comfortable chair. As you can see, I'm very comfortable. You can also use it as an ironing board. No problem. Anything else? Can use it for ironing, and it's very stable. The Tetra piece can also be used as a ladder. You can see I'm going to climb up in case you want to reach for something. In this position, can also be used as a storage unit. You can store your books, your shoes, and of course your cosmetics. So Ethiop is going to tell you how the Tetra piece was produced.
Thank you, Deborah. First of all, before we got this beautiful piece, we had to make a design sketch. After making our design sketch, we developed the design sketch into a working drawing. The working drawing was able to aid us to go to the markets to get our wood. The particular wood used here is called a seasoned wood, called Abura. It's properly known as the Owen wood. Then after that, we went on to preparing our cutting lists. Our cutting list was able to guide us to cut all the members of this project. When I mean the members of this project, I mean every single thing that makes up this project.
What the young inventors have created, it's commendable because in interior design and decoration, you put into consideration the size of the space you're working with. The space could be small or it could be large. In a small space, you don't want to bring in too many items. And likewise in a large space, you don't want to bring in items that are too small that will look scanty in the place. It will look as if the items are swimming inside the big space. So but what the girls have come up with, you can use it in both a small space and in a large space as well. For the small space, you can always keep it somewhere. When you are in need of it, you bring it out. Probably you want to iron your clothes, you bring it out, use it, take it back. You need an extra seat in the home, you bring it out for someone to sit on. Or peradventure, you need to reach a height in the house, you can bring it out and serve as a ladder. So it's multifunctional, and which is one key thing we look at in interior design and decoration.
There's a recreational facility over here, which is a stadium where recreational activities are being carried on by the occupants of this estate. In terms of health also, there's a water tank. There are water tanks over here that transfer water to all houses in the estate.
According to rules, before you can call a place a residential estate, the percentage should not be less than 60% of the development. The other 40%, will take care of the amenities, the social facilities that are supposed to be there, then the commercial activities that are required, the open spaces that are required, schools, hospitals, and all that are required for, our residential estate, to be viable.
An 18-year-old student of Government Technical College, Idori, Ondo State, had a remarkable contribution to the world of science. At the National Children's Exhibition of Arts and Crafts, Science and Technology Project in Abuja, Maiwa came up with his electrofuelless motorcycle devoid of all normal combustive mechanisms, that is, petrol tank, carburetor, gear, and clutch.
An electrofuelless motorcycle is a motorcycle that does not use fuel. In Nigeria, when we talk of fuel, we refer to petrol, yes, as fossil fuel. But when we talk of fuel in the general sense, a battery can serve as a fuel, is a source of energy. The fuel is a source of energy for the motorcycle. So an electrofuelless motorcycle is a non-conventional motorcycle that does not use petrol to move. One disadvantage of this petrol motorbike is the emission of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and we can see them bringing out smoke, polluting the environment. So the electrofuelless motorcycle is one. That electro means it has something to do with electrical power or electrical signal. So that electro tells us that it uses electricity in some sort of storage form to move.
Maiwa's ingenuity is backed up by the application of the law of motion, borrowing a leaf also from the principle of combustive system motorcycle engine. The electrofuelless motorcycle is driven with a direct current electrical motor with a torque of 1.9 kilowatts and a DC battery. The cycle relies on direct current from battery cells as a fuel alternative via contractor and shunts. The batteries are recharged by the alternator and electricity outlet when static. Maiwa's innovations comes handy as an environmentally friendly technology.
Our main mandate at the Nta Educational Television, a specialized arm of the Nigerian Television Authority, is to promote learning in all its ramifications, using the formal, non-formal, and informal methods.
We have conceived the Young Inventors Program to encourage children and young adults to explain the concepts and reasons behind their projects and what societal problems such projects were meant to solve.
To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. So says Albert Einstein, and we can't agree less.
The real opportunities lie ahead, but we believe that it is our treatment, packaging, and in-depth interpretation of the numerous projects in our weekly program, which has been transmitted consistently in the last 8 years on the NTA, that has brought about equitable and sustainable solutions to the myriad of challenges of daily living in Nigeria.